Ladies and gentlemen, hi again. Welcome back to our CEO Talks. Today we have another Belgian friend, Bart Dobbelaere. I hope I pronounce your surname correctly, Bart. Together with my good friend Alain from the Belgian, Luxembourg, Moldova, and Romania Chamber of Commerce. We will talk with Bart today how brands must embrace uncertainty during the post-pandemic and in order to survive. Bart, welcome. And I will give you the floor for a small introduction about yourself and what brings you in Romania. As I understand, you are I think 20 years almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Mamas, for the invitation and the opportunity. Thanks, Alain. So my name is Bart Dobbelaere. I will be 2nd of August. I will be 20 years in Romania. I had a short stoppage before of 6 months into Hungary. I started in the apparel industry. Where we were making clothes. I started the greenfield actually, where afterwards or during I did some consultancy jobs, and through that we arrived to make a greenfield in chocolate. So producing and converting chocolate, after which I arrived now and I will be already 12 years in the packaging industry, where I started again another greenfield for VPK, the VPK Packaging Group, where I'm managing director of VPK Packaging Serele, where we're producing corrugated board. And I'm also managing director of Corex, where we're producing cardboard cores and corner profiles. The interesting thing is that we are producing locally and we are selling locally. So our main market is as well as the Romanian as the Hungarian market.
Very good. So you have a regional activity, and you are currently in Oradea, if I remember. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. The company is located in Salonta, which is around 30 kilometers under Oradea. So it's a perfect location also, as we are exactly at the border between Hungary and Romania to serve both markets.
Very good. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Alain, I give you the floor to start our discussion.
Thanks, Mama, to give me the floor. I also thank you, Bart, to accept this invitation regarding CEO Talks. I think it's a quite interesting formula that Mamas was setting up. So, coming back to the subject of the talk is that leadership is sustainable in the packaging market. I was reading on the website of VPK that the mission you have is based on 3 pillars: great to work for, great to work with, great at what we do. Can you elaborate a little bit more how the crisis affected these pillars and how you translated these pillars differently in or not during this crisis?
Okay, nice question. So first of all, because that I forgot, we are depending from a bigger group, VPK Packaging Group, which is employing 6,100 people. Wow. And present in several countries, from recycling paper to corrugated business, cores, and solid board. Yeah. So I'm happy you checked the website. Indeed, we have 3 pillars. Great to work for, great to work with, and great at what we do. Let's start with the great to work for, where in our business we're saying the people are the most important, because in the end it's the people that are going for the extra mile on the machine. It's the operators that are actually deciding, will we go for an extra speed, or do we keep the extra quality level? Especially as we are in a process industry, it's not always black and white. Yeah, great to work for in the first place is health and safety. Yeah, we have to keep our people health and safe. During this period, this is quite a challenge. We got confronted with the COVID virus, where at the beginning everything was pretty flu. Yeah, there were a lot of different informations. I think with the management team and in the group, but also locally, we took quite quickly actions, and somehow we were guided or forced to take certain decisions, as one of our main suppliers was bringing paper from northern Italy. Yeah. So we quickly put to check the people, the suppliers that came in, with checking the temperature, making the declarations, where they came from, etc., keeping the distance. Yeah. So from health and safety point of view, I think this is clear for almost all of management in other countries and sorry, companies, where there was a national, let's say, national directives to be followed. We choose to do this faster. Of course, I have to say, in our business, where we are delivering also to the food industry, yeah, and whatever fast-moving consumer industry, which is requiring high hygienic levels, yeah. So we had already the necessary dispositives, for example, to disinfect the hands, all the processes to wash the hands every time when somebody is going to the toilet. They had to wash their hands, they had to disinfect every time they went to eat, etc. So we had already structure pretty based to go forward. But as we also realized pretty quickly that it's not about containing the pandemia, we also had a role to fulfill in the supply chain, because when the packaging stops, you can produce the food and all the necessary fast-moving consumer goods, which is necessary for the daily life. If you don't have them packed, you cannot get them finally to the customer, to the final customer. So I think this was internally also the real story, where we indicated, okay, we protect you first, but it's not about only protecting our own business. It's actually also about protecting society, because if things stops and we cannot deliver anymore, we will get even bigger problems and issues. Yeah. In that view, great to work for. Of course, we created pretty quick also the possibility to work from home. Yeah, which was, I think it was more a mental challenge for us as management, because we were, especially as we are in a production industry, commercializing the product, but we were more used to be inside, to talk with each other, to meet each other in person. But we were quite flexible. We made the click pretty fast. Okay, we were forced to do so, but on a very short term, we decided, from all the people in the office, I think from 50 people in the office, we asked 43 to work from home. Of course, this was asking mind shift, actually. Yeah, at the beginning, this was a little bit strange. People having meetings on Zoom, people having meetings on Teams. So this took some time, but actually I was very happy that people got used to that. Yeah. On the other hand, this is something that, you know, we are social animals, if I can say it, tribal animals, which I was reading some time ago. we got confronted with the fact that people were asking us to come back. They said, look, I have my challenges at home. We have children. We don't have the same circumstances. We're missing the social contact. Yeah, that's why we give certain opportunities right now also, and we organize the offices so that people could come back. Yeah, we're motivating for people to stay home, that they can come back to the offices, but respecting the rules. So we put separators between the offices. We put into effect the social distancing, which is actually a wrong term according to me. It should be more physical distancing, and I think the social distancing is how we deal with that. Yeah, or it's actually a difference in mindset. Hmm? So great to work for. I think that's how we dealt with it. We took directly care of the health of the people. We separated the drug drivers. We checked them. We gave the opportunity for people to work from home. Another thing which I think which is pretty important, and which is linked to the two questions which or the two big answers in a survey that I was reading yesterday, is what did you do when the pandemic came? Yeah, and you lost volumes. Yeah, and one of the main answers were, okay, cost cutting. Yeah, and looking for new customers in same market or other markets. And this I can say I saw around a lot of cost cutting, which is also linked to personnel. Yeah. And we took actually maybe a little controversial decision to not lay off people or to limit technical unemployment. Yeah, what we did is we motivated for the people to go in holiday. Yeah, to take the holiday up to the 6 months, explaining them that we will need them afterwards when the economy is getting back. Yeah, and for the people who didn't have the holidays anymore, or they took already, we were looking for extra trainings and or creating added value. Yeah, which means we had process controllers, for example, that were developing training programs, presentations, etc. This at first sight meant a direct cost, yeah, or an increase per unit of the fixed cost. But as a nice effect, what we see now, yes, it's a little investment, but we see that, for example, certain competition, they sent people in technical unemployment. They even laid off certain employees to maximize their cost cutting. What we get now, compared with the competition, is a huge flexibility. Because what happened to certain customers, and as we're dealing with a very high variety of customers, we see that some customers, especially the fast-moving consumer goods, were still doing pretty fine. But the other producers, they started to have issues. They stopped, put people in technical unemployment. But the problem was the forecasting of the orders. Yeah. So they came back. We had even customers that came back and they said, okay, in 3 days we need to have goods. Knowing that we transform paper into boxes, which takes already 3 days. Yeah, that's quite a challenge. So we basically helped our customers that had to do cost cutting, who were in a worse shape than we were, yeah, who lost way much more volume than we did. Yeah, we helped them to start up easily, because everybody knows that stocks went down. People used the stocks to reduce the working capital, basically. And this is how we transformed, yeah, a controversial actually decision or strategy of not going to direct cost cutting to actually creating an added value for our customers. Yeah. And I think this given added value and this helped us in the end to go to the second answer or the main answer on that survey, is that this helped us to get faster back to customers, to gain more volume at existing customers, and even get new customers inside. Yeah. I think in some, it's not a criticism I want to give, but in some cases I saw companies laying off, getting too fast to conclusions. They laid off certain employees, and 2 weeks later they were hiring again. Yeah. So great to work for. I think we created added value inside by giving a certainty, yeah, which was a big challenge as a management in these times where nothing was certain, at least to create a certain certainty by communicating, look, we're in the boat together, we will go through it, we will not take the easiest decision to lay off people, to cut costs. Yeah. Well, of course, what we want to do is going to our suppliers and there to rediscuss what we can do. And this is what we did, for example, in transport. Yeah. But we will use our time to see where in other levels of the company in purchase where we can get the extra cost cutting. And then, of course, we created the trust. On the other hand, we give an objective and we said, look, this is sustainable. Yeah, if we go in a certain period to a certain volumes, which, if you don't mind, I will not state now because this is confidential right now. And we see that successful. Other companies who were really operational excellence minded only, yeah, we see that they have now a competitive disadvantage. So that's
Okay.
great. Yeah.
You want to continue? Because I have had a question for you, another question, but you can continue if you want.
I'm listening.
No, what is interesting for me is when you was talking about the volumes, how you see the market in the packaging market going in the next future, and also thinking about e-commerce, how will it have an impact on your business?
Yeah, indeed. So your question is actually referring to two things. So it's volume-wise, and what is the market doing? And the market is actually pushed to e-commerce. So the pandemic pushed even smaller and medium companies to get into e-commerce. Yeah, and even people like me who were not really ordering online. I think in 2-3 months I ordered as much online as I ordered in the last 3-4 years. Yeah. So let's start with the volumes in our business. Just referring to us, VPK Packaging, we're quite focused on fast-moving consumer goods, which is 50 to 60% of our market. Yeah. So we were less affected than other businesses like automotive. Yeah. So I'm talking now for the business, and I'm referring to figures of ARFCO, yeah, which is the Association for Producers of Corrugated Board. We see that in January, February, and March they were incredibly good, yeah, volumes-wise and profitability-wise. To be honest, March was still very good because people were going to shops, yeah, getting the reserves inside, food, sugar, etc. So we saw a huge increase still in March. And then what happened? April, May, we saw a drop of 30%. Yeah, that's an overall drop, which was linked to reducing stocks, of course. Yeah, keeping the cash inside or creating more cash. Yeah. Also as a guarantee for their customers, which might not pay or which might go in insolvency or bankrupt. Of course, industries like an automotive, like a furniture industry, which were actually stopping their activity. Yeah. And honestly, right now, I don't have the official figures, of course, for June, but we see that actually the industry is picking up. Yeah. Pretty well. My only concern is that we have the wave again that people are asking for some more stocks. Yeah, we're starting again to produce, but the concern is indeed that there is the mental mindset of the final customer, yeah, which is normal, who normally had to buy a new car now. Are they buying a new car in these uncertain times? I don't think so. Are people investing in a new television, in new furniture? I think there are less and less people, and that most of the people are trying to see what will come out. Yeah, there's still a lot of people that are risking their jobs. There are people in technical unemployment. And then, of course, in this uncertainty, you don't take decisions. You still go to buy bread, of course. You still go to buy toothpaste. These are the normal goods, the fast-moving consumer goods, which have to be packed anyway. You pack it in a normal brown box or you pack it in a fancy colored box, in the end, that's the same. Yeah. So personally, my view is that the market is taking on again, but we will arrive by the end of the year, and I'm not saying accumulated, but my forecast is that we will arrive as a total market month on month to around minus 10%. Yeah. If you refer that to our business, this is challenging, taking into account the extra capacities that came last year, for example, and the capacities that should be filled. So our market will be under a certain pressure. Yeah. We will see, of course, indeed, how this is going. We will also not make too big steps in capacity. We will limit the capacity and focus on added value business instead of pushing to get a huge increase in volumes. Because I always say the cake only has a certain size. Yeah? It's not because you take a bigger knife that the cake will become bigger. So I think it's a matter of, and this is what our industry, and I think a lot of other industries will cope with, is what decisions you take, what strategical decision do you take? Yeah? Do you go for a pure price strategy to get volumes? Yeah, and then you pull the entire market down until somebody dies. Yeah, or do you really go for added value, and through added value to create not give or only play on the price of the product, but to offer to your customer in the end through your product a better total cost. And I think there is the future.
Okay, then coming back to your management and leadership.
Sorry, can I go back because I didn't answer to the e-commerce.
Sorry. Yeah, correct.
Yeah?
Correct.
Okay. So indeed, e-commerce, we see that this will be growing market. As much as we believe it or not, it's not such a developed market, neither in Romania, neither in Hungary. I think what happened now really gave a leverage and will give a leverage to all the businesses that jumped on the e-commerce now.
And you think that this will start picking up more and more, the e-commerce, having in mind the current conditions?
Indeed, indeed. And it forced, as I said, it forced businesses who were not thinking of getting into e-commerce, or at least not yet into e-commerce, to take steps.
Yeah, but we shouldn't leave any crisis go wasted, and we should see all the opportunities and how we turn around to our benefit and to the benefit of the society. Okay, carry on, Alan.
Yes, I had a question regarding your management and your leadership. This pandemic had an impact on your leadership?
Of course. First of all, you have to deal. Okay, it's quite some years since the last crisis, yeah, and the pandemic put us in a certain crisis situation, and I think that the biggest challenge was in times of uncertainty to create a guidance or a direction for the people in the company. Yeah. So even when this was going from directives changing all the time, having an impact on our internal strategy, what do we do? What do we do if a family member is coming back from an employee? How we deal with that? Yeah. Um, on the other hand, there was not a physical presence. Yeah. And even if I was still in the company physically present, at least for the workers who had to come to work in production, to show them that we're not alone. Yeah, because that was a little bit a paradox. In the end, we send the people home that we can send home. But the blue collar workers, we couldn't send home because they have to produce. So I took the decision to be here. Yeah, I was of course avoiding unnecessary contact. That people saw I was here, I was next to them. They saw me or when they passed or when I arrived. Yeah, this is one thing. On the other hand, you have the non-physical presence, yeah, which you had to compensate to people. So what we did, we started a weekly Zoom meeting, at least with management and middle management, where we started to update and give a view on what is going on in the market, what is going on in the company, and where should we focus on. And with a personal approach. So every time we had a meeting, we asked personally the people, okay, how do you feel? What do you think? What are your challenging? Do you have any questions, etc.? Because working from home is, somehow you lose the link with the reality, especially when it's about people who are never used to work from home. So we did. It made the difference. We had to go more digitally. On the other hand, I think in some cases it had a very good effect because meetings were way much more efficient.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Indeed, meetings are more efficient, but you lose this personal touch. Well said, Bart, and I underline the importance that you and your organization are playing in the supply chain, especially on the fast consumer goods, and to have the continuation of providing packaging to companies to be able to sell their goods, and having in mind always in protecting the society, protecting your clients, and protecting the final consumer, as you correctly mentioned it, as well as we've seen what steps your leadership took in order to protect your employees, and how you manage in these turbulent times, and how brands should embrace this uncertainty to survive, and not only to survive, to take advantage and turn it to its own benefit, this pandemic crisis. And as I said before, let's not leave a crisis go wasted, and take advantage of it, and be positioned to survive even stronger. At this moment, I would like to thank you both, Bart, for accepting the invitation, and Alain for moderating our CEO talks. and a special thanks to the Belgian, Luxembourg, Moldavian, Romanian Chamber of Commerce that you are leading. And I would like to wish to you and your families all the best, and to your companies that you are managing the best luck as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very
very
much,
much.
Giorgio.
Thank you very much.